Today we are playing the Paper Mario TTYD Randomizer that will send us to randomly chosen rooms of the main game, including boss rooms. Additionally, it randomizes all items. We could be flooded with useless items, or we could become extremely powerful. Our main objective is to collect as many points as possible inside a 1 hour window. Many fearsome bosses will stand in our way. However, defeating those bosses will also gain us the most points. Aside from defeating bosses, we can also get points for collecting 100 coins, finding 10 new badges, acquiring the power of a curse, gathering key items, moving up a level, finding an insignia or using it on your partner, assembling 999 coins, improving your equipment. It is also worth mentioning that each game over will cost us 5 points. Can we get a high score, or will we be overwhelmed by overpowered bosses? This is the Paper Mario the 1000-Year Door Randomizer. This is it. Time to show that I'm pro of this game. And I've already got an idea for our file name. Oh, that's so original. Well, we'll take it. Nice. So this is the starting area. Later on in the game we'll want to return here, but right now I will just search for some good starting items on this roof, in this alley, behind these barrels, and look into the shop. Oh, and this is a really useful item. I'll explain later why. But for now, I'm definitely gonna buy a few point swaps and this attacking item for damaging opponents. So I'm just gonna take the chance and equip some of the badges that we got in the starting area. And also reveal this chest for a key item. It's literally a key. For now, we can't do anything in this room, but spawning it twice is pretty unlikely. Let me solve this puzzle real quick. Didn't take long at all. We got so lucky spawning in this room. I'll just take this handle and show you how I can handle these enemies. So now I'll just take the time and explain to you why this area is so great. This area contains a lot of easily defeatable enemies that also gain us so many star points. We need 100 star points for one level, and as you might be able to see, we already got half of that. You could fight these enemies with Bobbery, but my personal favorite strategy is to use Flurry's Gale Force in order to blow the enemies away. Wait, according to Mario Wiki, the likelihood of blowing them away with Gale Force is 90%. Now that's 90%? Anyway, let's end this fight with Bobbery. On top of that, we gained our first level up. I'm gonna choose BP here, which is short for badge points, and I'll explain later to you why. But it's important for the strategy that I'm going after. The more badge points we have, the more badges we can equip, and badges can manipulate our stats or abilities in combat, and outside of it. I think I just got unlucky earlier, so here's my second attempt at using Gale Force. I always try to press the A button a bit earlier when it's shown on the screen. This might not be intuitive, but it works for me. And this is more like it. Well, I shouldn't have jinxed it. She's fine. Maybe not. It's your turn, Bobbery, and I'll choose BP again. Due to the fights being quite repetitive, I'm cutting out most of them for you. Just look at this magic trick. And done. You might have guessed it already, but I just love BP. Thinking about the time, I'm trying to turn away from the grind. But then, I find one of the most efficient enemy defeating items in the game.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening!
And I'll just take this opportunity and show you how powerful it is. You just have to do a bit of... If you are wondering about why I am leaving the room despite having the most optimal setup to defeat enemies, it's because I realized that I only have 5 minutes left in order to complete my setup for defeating bosses, which appear under the 40-minute mark. That's why I'm leaving the room now, in order to hopefully complete the rest of my preparations before the boss phase begins. Finding the super boots for our equipment is also quite lucky. I bet you didn't know about this hidden block, because I didn't either for the longest time. How are you supposed to guess that? The moon is another great area to farm enemies, but I'm not going to spend much time here since I already spent a lot of time in another farming area. I'm just using an earthquake here to leave every moonkirk with 1 HP. If they don't use their items instead of attacking us, then they should be defeated in a second. They used their items and wasted time, but now they're gone. If I wake you up at 3 AM and ask you which upgrade I'm going to choose, then you should know the answer by now. It's BP. I can already smell the key items. Usually, in order to leave this room, you actually need to spend a key item and lose the point that you gained for it. However, you could also abuse this glitch.
Bye, have a great time.
The reason why I'm leaving so many rooms so fast is because I'm searching for a shop right now. Why the shop is so important for my strategy, I will reveal later on in the video, so keep watching. Aside from that, this room might not look as suspicious, but it is actually extremely useful for setting back our sequence. Since the boss phase is soon to arrive, I will briefly explain what a sequence is to you. It is important to know that Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door tracks our progress in the story through numbers, specifically the numbers 1 to 405. What follows would be that sequence number 1 represents the state in which we have the full story ahead of us, and at the point of sequence 405, the game thinks that we have defeated the final boss. So let's suppose that the game included a boss fight at sequence 100. If we defeated that boss, and therefore entered sequence 101, we now wouldn't be able to fight the boss anymore because we would be above his sequence. But if we were at sequence 100, or anything lower than that, then it would still be possible to fight the boss at sequence 100, triggering certain events in the overworld, or entering a room with a boss that we can fight. Are ways to change our sequence. To conclude this explanation, I just lowered my sequence because it is my goal to encounter as many bosses as possible, as bosses are still the most efficient source for points in this game mode. Logically following, the sequences are of course not important for the bosses that you can encounter at any time in the game. I swear this room is haunting me. Look, I'm gonna collect this chest without even seeing it. Ooh, we got the Ultra Boots. This is a useful power boost for Mario's jump attack. To be honest, despite having found one of the best sequence resetting rooms, I'm still not feeling too confident about this run, because we are almost at the 40-minute mark and we still haven't found a good shop. This means that I'm still unprepared for fighting many bosses, and encountering them without being prepared could result in massive time and point loss, which I definitely want to prevent. While speaking of time loss, here is a room that I'll spend some time in, as I think that it's usually beneficial to acquire curses. We just need to do a bit of... And now we got our curse. Another convenient way at lowering my sequence. Just trying to land on this pillar here. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm definitely avoiding these cannons. Yep, don't want to spawn from this door. Solving this puzzle shouldn't be a problem. It's you again! Maybe I should just name this room and greet it every time. Might as well do that. Here's a tip. Just collect the item and teleport out. Then you won't have to fight the enemy. By the way, these puzzle rooms with the music are taken out of the randomizer as soon as we solve them. I might name this room after one of my first subscribers, so you know what to do. And here it is, our first boss. And of course, I'm massively underprepared. Mario has almost got no star energy, so he can't deal a lot of damage. If Yoshi were to survive for long enough, he would be able to deal massive amounts of damage to the boss. Now I'm facing the decision. Do I attempt to survive long enough so that Yoshi can deal a critical blow and go away with a big win? Or do I just give up and avoid a potentially fatal time waste, but also lose 5 points? You know what? I'm trying to survive here. I didn't make it, so that was a waste of time, and we also lost 5 points. But I'm not giving up the run. I'm not wasting these recorded megabytes. I just noticed that I used up most of my healing items in this fight. And we're back. Let's see if we can still save this run. And this room is definitely a start, as it allows us to sell some of the badges for precious piles of money. I'm deciding to sell these badges: Damage Dodge, HP Plus, Supercharge P, Return Postage, Power Jump, and Bump Attack, which is about useless in this run. Next we can buy this key item and max out our equipment with the Ultra Hammer, which we can only get because we fulfilled the requirement of collecting the Ultra Boots earlier. Perhaps you remember how I had been going on about finding a shop. This is finally the moment in the run where I found it. It's almost time I tell you what my plan was going into this run. Regarding the items that are necessary for my boss defeating strategy, I'll need to buy the following from this shop: a double dip badge, half an inventory full of point swaps, which luckily we already got in the starting area. We need equally as many boo sheets, and last but not least, ideally around 8 Mega Rush P badges. The only reason we can afford all these items is because we visited the starting area again and had the chance to sell our badges. At the same time, having enough coins is not enough to succeed in the run. The items that the shop offers are also randomly generated, so in order to get the specific items that I want, I will need to reset the shop multiple times. And I'm really happy that I got the Mega Rush P badge so early on. Getting your items through the shop is both boring but also nerve-wracking at the same time, because if you accidentally reset an item that you actually need, then that can be a major time loss. This is why you can always see me checking the item supply before I reset. Conveniently, it didn't take too long to roll the double dip either. This is going great so far. Now I just need to roll boo sheets. With my recent luck, this will be easy. It proceeded not to be easy. I finally got them. Selling the unnecessary items that were taking place in my inventory, I bought 8 boo sheets, so that this run could finally begin to flourish. Why are these items so important, you ask? You will see in just a bit. Just as a reminder, this is a boss room, but we can't encounter the boss right now because our sequence is too high. Well, speaking of bosses, these are the Shadow Sirens, including Dupless. In my first move, I activate the double dip and use the point swap on Coops. This is where it gets interesting, because the double dip costs 4 FP, so that now we land on 1 FP. Having used the point swap, Coops' HP are immediately switched with our FP. This allows us to lower Coops' HP to 1, and with 1 HP he is unstoppable. The Mega Rush badge can massively increase the attack power of a character, as long as the character is on 1 HP. With a double dip strategy and the point swap, we have a consistent way at getting our partner to 1 HP, so that the Mega Rush badges are activated. For a comparison, Mario in one turn would be able to deal about 6 damage to a single enemy through a normal attack. But now, look at what Coops is able to do with this strategy. Speaking of Coops, the Diamond Star can be a great alternative to the Crystal Star, which we found earlier. Also, this storage room behind the shop is always worth checking out. What I like to do in Glitzville is to collect the Super Hammer and collect a few items on the way. There are actually a few more items in this area, including a shop, but they are not as accessible as the rest. Notice how Mr. X is calling right now, but we ignore him because the story doesn't matter in this mod. Again, Coops is great for handling ground enemies, so bye bye Dark Bones. Which level up do you suppose I'm getting? Oh, you know, it's HP. Because at this point I don't really care about BP anymore, as we've already equipped the Mega Rush badges and the double dip, which is pretty much all I care about. Out of my own experience, I can now tell you that you should avoid giving Merlin the up arrow that you got earlier, because you don't gain any points for it, which I didn't know before giving it away. Well, it's only 1 point. Let me out of this fight! I'm searching for bosses right now. Who do we have here? In these specific puzzle rooms you can just teleport around and collect the items for free. And I'm aware that I can already solve the puzzle in the other puzzle room, but I just don't want to. Feel free to correct me on this one, but I believe that the creepy steeple is one of the rooms where your sequence doesn't matter for encountering the boss. The big boo waiting for us here is easily defeated with Yoshi bounces. This is another one of those teleport puzzle rooms. Don't even bother to wait for the block to disappear, just teleport immediately. Currently our sequence is pretty high, so I'm looking for a way to change that. Luckily, the Shadow Sirens and Dupless are waiting for us at sequence 390, which still doesn't solve our sequence problem, but I'll take the points either way. I'm not leveling up BP because our strength is already sufficient in order to beat all the bosses in the game. I'm not leveling up FP because having 5 FP is relevant for our double dip strategy. But I am willing to level up HP because Mario is supposed to survive for longer, cause that makes it easy to take 1 or 2 hits in battle without having to worry about it. While slowly approaching the 10-minute mark, here's another boss that doesn't care about our sequence. Okay, I'm doing the puzzle. Big Boo is gonna take a big L and we're gonna get 10 points. 10 minutes left and I'm feeling better about the run. Can we get to 200 points though? I'm not even trying to pronounce the name of this key item. I don't want to get demonetized. I just realized that it's probably not that important because I'm not monetized either way. Well, I'm still not doing it. When coming around to actually playing this game on my channel, I can already announce that I am in love with the atmosphere in Chapter 6. But this cutscene is taking way too long. I'm on a schedule here. I love how this boss repeatedly shows up just in order to get one hit. Now that's some determination there. Time is really running out. Only 5 minutes left on the clock. Don't want this room. Most bosses aren't even accessible for us. At this point, I'm just scrubbing together all the points that I can get. And I can't believe it. The champion of all bosses is visiting us again. He's like the Mr. Beast of Paper Mario, considering how many points he already gave us. That was really nice. But can we get anything else done in the last few seconds? I can't believe it. Another boss room. 20 seconds to go. And it's not enough. Here's my point score. Watch this video next if you want to see me play the Paper Mario game that started it all.